guest speaker, Mrs. Heather Lutzi. Sorry. Heather, she's a great friend, strong personality. She's one of those people that when you are sharing a problem with her, before you are finishing, she has the solution. She is famous to make impossible possible. She has a banking experience, and now she's in charge of SBA, which cover basically our area and much more. It's an honor to have her here. And as I said, I think business needs information, maybe you call it plan, and money and advising, counselor. Through their organization, she will share with you that we can get it all. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mrs. Heather Lutzi.
Well, thank you so much. What a wonderful welcome, and I sincerely appreciate that I was invited here today. I am honored to be with you. The language that you speak, Farsi, even though I don't understand, it's a beautiful language. I look forward to learning more. As Mo stated, my name is Heather Lutzi, and I'm the District Director for the Sacramento District Office. My office encompasses 21 of the northeastern counties of the state. So from the Oregon border over to Nevada, down to San Joaquin. U.S. Small Business Administration is a federal agency. Our administrator sits at the cabinet level. We have a direct line to Congress. Being business owners yourself, I'm sure that you can understand that regulatory changes and laws are very difficult to navigate. With the U.S. Small Business Administration, or SBA, we can help you to get through that cumbersome paperwork. The permitting process, the tax laws, trying to figure out if you should be an S Corp or a C Corp or a sole proprietor. I know a lot of you have businesses already, which it's wonderful to understand. And I know that a couple of you had said that you are thinking about starting a business. So I'm hopeful that we can further conversations as we go through the evening and on to the future. With SBA, because we're a federal agency, we have no charge for our services. They're prepaid by your tax dollars. So we would not charge for any advice, counseling, contracting opportunities, and any type of programs that we offer. So I have a colleague here, and I asked him to speak as well if I get stuck. So Scott Rogowski, who's the Small Business Development Center. Under the SBA umbrella are 4 different agencies that SBA provides the funding for. And that's the Women's Business Center, the Veterans Business Outreach Center, SCORE, and our SBDC partners. With SBDC, we provide counseling services to help you either start your business, grow your business, or expand. And expand either by becoming larger or expanding into new markets, perhaps overseas markets, doing exporting. With the help of the SBA and the programs that we offer, we're able to get you to grow and to get into these different markets. Because SBA is not a direct lender, what we do is actually guarantee loans that banks make, like Sophia's bank, Poppy Bank. We would guarantee a loan that Poppy Bank would make. With that, it gives us power because a lot of times the banks won't lend. They'll say no to a startup loan. They think it's too risky. Or perhaps getting into new markets, they may not want to go for that. Or as we discussed with Pizza Guys, the franchise. A lot of banks don't want to do franchises. So with the SBA loan guarantee, it helps the lender to say yes. With that, we're able to deploy our programs, and the main purpose of deploying our programs is to create jobs and therefore build our communities. So we have a big community here of businessmen and women, and I'm hopeful that we can grow that. With the resource partners that SBA offers, they can assist as well. And whether that is gaining access to contracting opportunities, we do federal, state, we own the federal contracting opportunities, but we partner with our state and city and county representatives as well to get you contracts that perhaps you wouldn't normally have the opportunity to get. Go ahead.
خدمت هستم که چند نکته رو خدمتتون بگم. اولا سرویسی که پروواید میشه همینطور که اشاره کردن سرویسی هستش که مجانی در اختیار متقاضی قرار میگیره. اگر شما بخواید بیزنس پروپوزال بنویسید، این بیزنس پروپوزال رو گروهی هستن که مثل اسکات که اون بیزنس پروپوزال شما رو کمک میکنن که نوشته بشه. بعد میرسه به جایی که یک گروه دیگه هستن که بهشون میگن اسکور. اینها سی او کمپانی‌هایی هستن که دیگه کار نمیکنن و اینها میتونن به شما راهنمایی بکنن که اساساً بیزنستون رو چجوری اداره بکنید. و من فکر نمی‌کنم که واقعا بشه روی اون ولیوی رو، یعنی شما هم بیزنس پروپوزالتون رو میتونید مطرح بکنید و اینا در میون بگذارید و کمکتون میکنن که به چه ترتیب نوشته بشه، به چه ترتیب قابل اجراست و بعدم اسکور که میتونه راهنمایی بکنه که شما اشکالاتتون بتونید با اونها در میون بذارید به عنوان یک مشاور. و همه اینها فقط پارت از پروگرامی هستش که اگه تو شرکت بکنید با پروگرام میاد و هیچ فی بهش تعلق نمیگیره. مطلب دیگه که اشاره کردن و به نظر من از اهمیته، کسانی که از طریق این پروگرام برن جلو قراردادهای دولتی چه فدرال و چه استیت رو در جریانش قرار میگیرن و بر اساس مقررات امروز correct me if I'm right 23% اون کانترکت ها باید به این اسمال بیزنس بگید باشه که از این طریق وارد بیزنس میشن و فکر کنم که این یک پنجره بسیار خوبیه برای کسانی که علاقمند هستن بتونن کارشون از سیکل خودمون بیرون ببرن.
No, that's quite all right. I believe what Mo said was talking about the 23% set-asides that the federal government has. The federal government every year contracts with over $500 billion in contracts. 23% of those are set aside for small businesses. And you might say, what's small? Small is any business that makes 15 million or less in the last 3 years. Truly, that's very large. So there's a lot of businesses that we can assist with our programs. Whether that's a lending program or a contracting opportunity or counseling opportunity to perhaps learn a skill that you're not familiar with, to put your business plan together, as Scott is the expert in. Also, with financing, being able to approach a lender or a bank or a credit union, there's a lot of different requirements from the lender's standpoint. Scott and his team, as well as the folks at the SBA, can help you navigate that. They can help you get your loan package ready so that when you approach the lender, you have everything that you need and you've covered all of your bases. If you go to a lender and you're not prepared, most of the time they're going to say no. If you want to expand or do something different, or perhaps the bank that you're approaching doesn't want to do franchises, perhaps, then we know what lenders will do those particular loan programs. There's a lot of different loan programs that we offer, a lot of contracting opportunities that we can give, but I think the most valuable or important part of what we do is the counseling opportunities. And you can call or come in or go through Mo, and we could figure out if you want to do, if you want to build your business or buy a building. We've got a lot of real estate experts in the audience. That's terrific. So we would love to partner with you in helping small businesses to gain the new buildings. And we can help you with those types of things. Do you want to say?
When she's talking about, وقتی در مورد small business ها صحبت میکنن, and still you can correct me, فکر میکنم که Apple and FedEx, they started, Apple and FedEx که الان شما به عنوان اینترنشنال میشناسید شد, اینها با همین اسمال بیزنس پروگرام شروع کردن و فکر کنم که اگه اپل و فدکس این مسیر رفتن خیلی دیگه براشون شدنی. ضمن اینکه برای خرید پراپرتی کسی که بیزنس خودش رو داشته باشه و یا اینکه بخواد بیزنس خودش رو استبلیش بکنه، برای خریدن پراپرتی به شرط اینکه 51% آکیوپاید بشه با 10% دان میشه از SBA loan. I was mentioning about 10% off the property.
Yes, exactly. So 10% down is the minimum that the federal government requires on the loan programs. But as Mo also stated, companies like FedEx or U-Haul, Chobani Yogurt, Ben & Jerry's ice cream, Nike, Under Armour, those all started with the help of the U.S. Small Business Administration. And again, the services that we offer are free of charge. So they're already prepaid by your tax dollars. Why not take advantage of that? There's a lot to go through and a lot to discuss, and I know that everybody's hungry and wants to get eating. But I would love to make this fairly interactive. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them.
اگر سوال داشته باشید میتونیم مطرح بکنیم. Would you like to about the loan package that start from what amount to what amount?
Okay, we've got several different loan types and loan programs. And with that, we go as low as $5,000 up to...
This is for me.
up to $5.5 million. So that would be the loan programs. There's 3 distinct lending types that SBA does. One is called a microloan, and that would be a loan of $50,000 or less. It requires very little paperwork, very little collateral, if any, fairly simple to obtain. When you exceed the $50,000 and go up to say $250,000, there's a little bit more paperwork. We talked earlier, the reputation of SBA was always that it was very difficult and cumbersome to utilize our lending programs. And there's a lot of paperwork involved. That's really not the case any longer. We've streamlined the process and we work with our banking partners to get you the funds quickly. Obviously, everybody's in a time crunch, and whether you're purchasing a building or trying to make payroll, we want to be able to assist in that. The 7A loan program is kind of part of that, that second tier, and that loan goes up to $5 million. It can encompass any number of things, whether it be real estate, equipment, inventory, working capital, whatever you would need it for. So that goes up to $5 million. Then we have a program that's specific to real estate called a 504 program. And the 504 loan goes up to $5.5 million. And that actually is, again, used for real estate and large or heavy equipment. With that particular program, again, 10% down is all that you would need. There's specific requirements for each, but there's so many it's difficult to get into. We look at each transaction on its own. So there is a broad set of guidelines, but then we look at every type of business. And obviously our focus is for you to hire and expand. And again, build our communities. So that's what we're looking for. Yes?
How much loan how much loan went to your office last year, 2017?
How many loans did we do? We did 8.
In 2017.
In 2000.
The total.
In 2018, I actually have the number because we just finished, we work on a fiscal year. So in 2018, we did 899 loans, and that was for 642 million. So that's out of our office, just in Northern California.
Let me add something to it. The last, for example, it was a Valero gas station, the gas station in Valero for $5 million, you can buy it for $500,000. Not for $500,000, down. I wish you could. And I saw that report, the CPA firm was sold, I think for $600,000, and with 10% down. Any commercial property that you can use for your own business, هر ملکی که شما برای بیزنس خودتون استفاده کنید، with few exceptions. اینها همش میتونه با 10% دان خریداری بشه. در رابطه با بیزنس هایی که باز مثلا من فرانچایزی، یکی از چیزایی که فرانچایزی یکی از ایتمایی که شما میتونید از طریق SBA بخرید و اونم با یه مقدار کمیدان وارد بیزنس بشید. I was just explaining about the 10% down for the something like gas station and the CPA firm. But CPA firm was very CPA firm برای من خیلی جالب بود به خاطر اینکه بیسیکلی CPA firm وقتی شما می‌خرید همون اکانتاشو می‌خرید و با $630,000 فکر کنم که اگه اشتباه نکنم 600,000 دلار وام گرفته بود برای اینکه CPA فرم رو بخره یا اینکه یه کسی که لاندری مت داشته لاندری متش رو خواسته که ریفایننس بکنه they got all the money to refinance it for better.
I'm sorry, I have a question. This is on a startup company and existing business that they are operating, right?
Correct, we do. Yes.
The startup, you need a business plan. Existing company, you need their numbers.
Correct, exactly. Exactly.
And the term of the loan is up to 15 years, am I correct?
Actually, it could go up to 25 years with real estate involved.
With real estate?
With real estate. Without real estate, it's typically 10 to 15 years, depending on what the collateral is.
There's a question.
Yeah, I got a question I need to clarify in my head, and that is, aside from the educational, services that the school provides for small business starters, does the SBA provide mentors so the businessmen who want to start could navigate through the details and intricacies of the whole path they're gonna pave throughout?
Absolutely. So that's an excellent question. And yes, we have a cohort of a group of mentors and counselors, and they will help not only start your business, but mentor you throughout your business. Whatever type of business, we've got experts in technology, experts in real estate, experts in being a CPA, all different kinds of different mentors and counselors that can assist, and they'll even help you get ready to sell your business if that's your intent. So excellent question. So that's a great question as well. With the federal government, with the federal government, we have what we will allow a lender to make. So we give the base rate to the lender, and it's up to them on what they charge. But that being said, the lenders can charge no more than 2.75% on top of what prime rate is. So does that make sense? So right now we're about 8.25, 8.5. If you were to look at the internet banking companies, you can get money quickly on the internet. Don't do it. It's a bad deal. They're not regulated. And we refinanced a woman who obtained one of those loans on the internet because she needed the cash. She was put in a bad position and had to make payroll, so she got a quick loan. She ended up with an 84% interest rate, and that's not illegal. On the internet, it's just not good. If you use your bank partners or credit unions, they're regulated. So whether they're regulated from the state government or the federal government, you as consumers are protected. On the internet, you don't have that protection.
Can I make it simple?
Please.
Basically, SBA is welcoming everybody when the bank say no. The new guy, like that wants to start business. If you're in a certain plan and you want to expand it and the bank doesn't help you. Because SBA, as she mentioned, the first priority is to create jobs. بعدم این جاب وقتی درست میشه که اسمال بیزنس ها بتونن هر روز گرو بکنن. با این نظر.
سوالی که داشتم اینه که افرادی که میخوان حالا یک بیزنس کوچیکی شروع کنن و لون بگیرن، آیا بک‌گراندشون هم قرار مهمه که آیا چقدر سالهای گذشته تکس رو پرداخت کردن یا اینکه آیا درآمد فعلیشون چقدر هست که اگه بخوان این لون رو بگیرن یعنی یه چیز خاصی پروسس خاصی داره یا اینکه هر کسی میتونه
His question is, what about background? If he wants to start a business, for example, do you check his background to see how long does the business, how much tax pays, or sometimes if he was in Iran or some other part of the world and he has some experience in the same field in other places, can he get a loan to establish a new business with the background which sometimes is not verified?
No, that's wonderful. That's a great question. Yes. So you would create a resume and it would go along with your business plan. You would talk about whatever experience that you had back in Iran and you know, different jobs that you completed perhaps, say if it was, and I forget what field you're in, but say if it was construction, whatever jobs you completed, making sure that you state that the jobs were completed on time, on budget, if there's any type of verification that you could get, some type of letter of recommendation or something along those lines. That would be very helpful as well.
Anything for that or because somebody doesn't have any background for taxing before or something like this?
So that's the other great question is that with the U.S. Small Business Administration, we have to make sure that you've paid taxes, that you're current on your taxes, and that's what we look for. So if you're already an established business, then we look at the past 3 years' tax returns. If you're a new business, we look at projected earnings. And that's something that Scott is an expert in. He would forecast whatever sales would be applicable to that business type.
I told you Scott is a good man.
Scott is a good guy. He's a good guy.
And does your organization has the capability and infrastructure in a way similar to incubator?
Similar. Well, so the incubators are wonderful, and we actually do a lot of the seed funding for incubators to help grow companies. Yes, absolutely. Yes, yes.
Just a quick question.
Sure.
This loan should be for how long? For how many years? Should be fixed for 15 years, 30 years?
So if there is real estate collateral, it's 25 years. If there is no real estate collateral, and it's typically 10 years, could go up to 15 years. You're welcome.
My question or not, but do you provide any service to non-profits? Recently, we have established an organization, non-profit called House of Iran, Center for Art and Culture. We are desperately in need of finding a building or financing or do something, trying to raise money from the community, whatever. Is there any service that you can provide to those types of?
So that's another great question. So her question was regarding a nonprofit. So SBA loans and programs are really geared toward companies that are for-profit. However, that being said, we have one of our partners, which is the Women's Business Center, and they assist nonprofits. They help with the state of California. They have a loan fund through the state that will accommodate nonprofits. So we can put you in touch with them.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
I have a question. So what if the business gets in trouble and defaults on the loans, what happens?
That's another great question. So if the business gets in trouble, what we would always advise is to let us know. Obviously, during 2008 to 2010, that economic downturn, what we did for a lot of our borrowers was to postpone the payments. We put their payments on hold until the economy took a turn, or until they felt that they could help themselves kind of turn that corner and start to repay that debt. If there's no way out and nothing happens, then typically what happens is that we liquidate the collateral, which would mean we would sell, like if, for example, the building, we would make sure that the building was sold, we'd make sure that any assets were sold enough to repay that debt. Our focus is not to be a burden on the taxpayer. And because we work with taxpayer funds, we have to make sure that those are repaid. So those are the types of things that we look at.
Another example, یه example دیگه الان من خانم آرزو دیدم. They give a loan for $600,000 to somebody who wants to open a daycare. Or buy a daycare.
Buy a daycare.
آرزو معرفی نکرده خودشو.
Yes, I have two questions. First of all, from getting your application approved till funding, what's a typical turn time?
That's a great question as well, and it's really up to our banking partners. So with our banking partners, we have different status that we bestow upon them. So some lenders are considered preferred, which means that they can make the decision on the behalf of SBA. We give them that delegated authority. Other partners are not delegated, so they would submit the loan package to our office, and it would be processed through the office. That could take, but typically we look at the transaction within 10 days. If there's information that's missing or something along those lines, then we communicate that back out to the lender, and then the lender goes back to the borrower to ask for that additional information. So again, it's really up to the lender. Now, we've done several loans with Poppy Bank, I mentioned with Sophia, and I know Anush as well. We have banking partners that can do transactions in 30 days. We have others that if it's a credit line that you're looking for, they can do it in 10 days. If there's real estate involved and we have to get environmental studies, it could take 2 or 3 months. It depends. So there's not really a canned answer for how long it takes. It depends on the circumstance.
I think my question is related to some of the questions was asked. But if a business need cash first, whether car business or flipping real estate, we need to have cash to buy the properties first. Can we put, and we have existing properties that is free and clear, can we put those as down collateral and get that cash? Because often what we do is go get hard money, which is costly. So is there something like that, and what is the interest rate? I know there was a question about interest rate, but I missed the answer.
So that's a great scenario as well, but what you had said is we would consider that passive business. So with a passive business, we wouldn't do that through SBA. However, your lender or bank could do that. If you're putting up real estate as collateral that you own free and clear, it should be very quick and seamless to get those funds. You should have an open line of credit with your lending institution, and we can help you establish that. But as far as an SBA loan, it wouldn't be appropriate for that circumstance. Does that make sense?
Unless we open up a business, put the real estate under the business, and then
business هایی که when she's talking about the passive business, to make it simple, ببین مثلا آپارتمان سازی از نظر SBA پسیوه. چرا؟ چون یه مدتی میان یه ساختمون میسازن، یه ده کار میکنن میرن. خب ولی فرانچایزی وقتی میخری این یه دری باز میشه که مردم بیان کار بکنن. ساختمون اونجوری when she talking about the passive business is something that doesn't create a permanent job. و اونا به اسمال بیزنس نمیخورن ولی راههای دیگه داره. مثل نان پرافیت هم از نظر SBA خب هایر نمیکنه کسی رو مگه ولی اون وومن قسمت وومن اون قسمتی که مرد و خانم هست شاید بتونه اون کار رو انجام بده.
So sometimes when they use real estate as collateral, they can get a private business loan for it, but it wouldn't necessarily be a bank.
Well, that's what he was saying, private money.
He could do that, but it'd be a little higher interest rate.
That's what it's like.
That's what he's like. He could do it.
What kind of rates are you talking about?
Hard money?
As far, not hard money, I'm talking about the institutional type loans that are designed for that kind of passive business.
They won't do it.
They won't do it on SBA, but they may do it on conventional, and it depends on the lender. So the prime rate right now is 5.25, and most of them do a spread of 2 to 3 points above that. So you're looking at probably 7.5 to 8.5. On private money, that's not a bank, you're looking at between 8 and 12%.
Which has nothing to do with SBA, that private.
Has nothing to do with this.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, our focus, if we have a small business that comes to us looking for money and they don't qualify for SBA, we will refer them to a lender that can assist.
You said qualify. What is the qualification? What kind of a credit score would you have?
Yeah, of course I.
So SBA itself does not have a minimum credit score requirement, but what we look at is the credit profile. So that said, we like to see that there's not been a bankruptcy or a foreclosure in the last 5 years. If it's sooner than that, and if it's an isolated incident, if something happened, there was a sickness or a death in the family or something, that's explainable. It's an isolated incident. But if it's because you just didn't pay your bills, that's when it becomes a problem. There are specific requirements with banks and credit unions to where they may say 650 score is the minimum, or a 680, or it depends. The lower the credit score, the higher your interest rate is going to be.
Let's say, I don't know if you have a statistic for last 10 years, what is the rate of success of businesses that SBA supported? You have that statistic?
I can tell you that our default rate for the last 10 years has been less than 0.02%.
That's a good hope. That's a good hope, yeah.
0.2%.
Because don't forget, you are not even getting the loan. Yeah, there are some people that they give you advice. That the thing that you mentioned, SCORE is a non-profit organization that a lot of CEOs of different companies retired, work there, and they are the ones who can give you advice. That's why I think the rate of default is very low. Any other question?
Aside, under the general umbrella of small businesses, would you have any specific programs for women and minorities?
We do, yes. We do. So with the lending programs themselves, not necessarily, but with contracting opportunities, again, they're part of that set aside from the federal government to where they're put in the front of the line, women and minorities, and service disabled veterans. They get first crack at the opportunities for contracting with the federal government.
Except we are not under minority.
Yes.
Most of what is covered so far, covered the business or entities, which have a physical property. But in light of the fact that online business is taking a larger share of retail, for example, could you shed some light on how SBA covers or helps with the online businesses?
Certainly. So we've partnered with companies that have just an online presence, or ones that have a physical presence to where they have customers walk in the door. It just depends on the model type. If it is, I know that we've done one where the company sells clothing. They do the silk screening on the t-shirts, and they sell the clothing, but they do that only online. We've allowed that, and we've offered them the loan. So those types of things happen all the time. We also have instances where we've got companies that are, say, doing a home-based business like a catering out of their house. And as long as they've complied with the laws and regulations in their city and the county, then we're okay with that.
Meaning that they're equally supported.
Correct, exactly. As long as there's the cash flow to support the debt payment, then yes.
Thank you very much, Heather. I think in 5-10 minutes, the dinner going to be ready. The reason I'm asking is because they have those people down there. They have to move on for them to be able to serve us dinner. Thank you very much. Heather promises to be with us more and more and more because I know there are lots of questions. On top of it, because she's very busy, she accepts our proposal that any question that you guys have, you can send it to me and I meet with her half an hour a week. And we can get all the answers to those questions and give it to you because I know when you go home and think about it, and we all have some business ideas, a lot of questions are going to come to your mind. And we don't want those questions to be unanswered. Any question that you have, I'll be more than glad to put it together, take it to her, get an answer, and send it back to you guys. بازم تشکر میکنم از همتون که اومدین و thank you Heather, thank you Scott for coming.
Thank you.